So it certainly doesn't seem like the dust is settling, and Elon is still causing chaos all over the World Wide Web. His acquisition of Twitter has sent him through the stratosphere, and not in a SpaceX way. So I wanted to actually just take the time and unpack the Twitter deal itself and maybe look at a little bit about why Elon bought Twitter. Now, I know we covered this in the last video when we looked at him crushing Meta, but let's dive into it a bit deeper. So according to Twitter, in April 2022 and concluding in October this year, Elon Musk became the largest shareholder of Twitter, effectively making him the owner of Twitter. As the richest person on Earth, Musk inevitably secured his ownership of Twitter. So Musk is approximately worth around $203 billion. And to be honest with you, he seems pretty much capable of taking control of anything he wants. Do you not remember that meme tweet when he said, next thing I'm going to do is buy Coca-Cola and put the Coke back in it? I think there was some element of truth in that. But is Elon Musk killing Twitter, or is it going to survive and thrive under his reign? Elon has certainly thrusted Twitter into a whole new era, and daily active users are soaring at the moment. Whether it's controversy of letting new people on the platform, whether it's letting people who are banned back on the platform, getting rid of bots, or just generally causing upset, Elon definitely knows how to get engaged. Remember guys, when we're speaking about engagement, make sure that you hit subscribe, tap the like, and hit that bell icon to stay up to date with all of our content we're pushing out. So let's break down the deal. $44 billion was the acquisition cost of Twitter by Elon Musk. $44 billion. Now that is an incredible sum of money. I need to fact check this. I think that's the largest acquisition of a public company to take private again. Elon actually announced his acquisition of Twitter by tweeting, "The bird is free." I mean, how ironic of Elon just to really stir the pot. But has he actually increased the freedom on Twitter? Is he making people's voices be heard, or is he just pigeonholing down a certain agenda? There's one thing that we can be sure though, his takeover of Twitter has been nothing but controversial. So the deal itself was a long and grueling process. The share price fluctuated, it was wrapped up in court, there was huge issues with the bots, but why did Elon care so much about the bots? Now, we talked in a previous video about Elon being the PayPal mafia king himself. He was literally pioneering internet payments back in the 90s. So we said that the reason that the bots were so important to him was because actually when buying Twitter, he was buying an active user base to potentially look at a bit of a money market, payment transactions, looking at kind of transaction fees. This, for me, is a really good way to get Twitter profitable again. We'll see what ends up happening, but for me, that's why he was so hung up on the bots. So one of the things throughout this whole court ordeal was he was not afraid to slag off the existing team members, including senior management and C-suite professionals. He even had some slight digs at board members as well. Elon was for sure going to cause all kinds of earthquakes going through Twitter. I mean, come on. The guy brought a sink in on his first day and said, let that sink in. The guy is absolute jokes. If you love him or hate him, his charisma is through the roof. And this is why I personally feel he is a tier 1 entrepreneur. So since Elon actually took over, at least 4 top executives had been fired within literally days. And there's no slowing down. Elon is just continuing to pile on by cutting workforce dramatically. So how did the deal structure actually look like? And a lot of people might think, well, Elon just dumped $44 billion of his own cash into buying Twitter. Elon's a lot smarter than that. So it came in a combination of investment funds, personal assets, bank loans and debts to secure the purchase of Twitter. He even actually sold around about $15.5 billion in Tesla shares so that he could make this acquisition work. Now, Elon's got a load of cash. Elon is a bit of a philanthropist. He's trying to advance the world. Look at SpaceX, look at Tesla, look at even PayPal. The guy is always trying to take us to that next level. So for him to dump $15.5 billion of his own Tesla shares to purchase Twitter, he must be pretty bullish on what he can make of the bird. Just to wrap that up, the debt that are involved in the transaction of buying Twitter, they're secured against Twitter and not by Elon personally. So kind of minimizing his down risk there a little bit. Pretty smart guy if you ask me. So let's just take a look at the backlash since he bought Twitter. So even after significant backlash from politicians, commentators, journalists, C-suite professionals, investment funds, the list goes on, Elon still successfully completed the purchase of Twitter. And when he took over, he openly said that Twitter is going to become the place for freedom of speech.
It's just really important that people have both the reality and the perception that they're able to speak freely within the bounds of the law.
And he wasn't lying. Literally, Kanye, Andrew Tate, Donald Trump, back on the platform straight away. I mean, since then, I think Kanye has been banned again, but Kanye is not in a great place in the moment, so things are a bit all over the show. So literally, after 24 hours of him taking over, the antics really upped. There was huge amount of controversy on Twitter. You saw massive spikes in racist tweets, and a lot of people put this down to Elon and rested that on his shoulders. They said that Elon's takeover is going to encourage hate speech, that it won't be regulated the same way that it was previously, and it was already looking super shaky from the outset. I mean, this definitely tested out Elon's theory of free speech. There is a big difference between free speech and completely inappropriate speech, and Twitter hasn't quite got that balance yet. I mean, I know they are developing in the background to look at different ways they can moderate speech and also look at accounts. I mean, the bot thing is a huge thing because these bots are an absolute nightmare on Twitter. I literally still get spammed in every comment, NFT and crypto accounts. So one of the biggest downsides of this freedom of speech is Twitter's advertising revenue. One of the big backlash from brands was the fact that if they're promoting paid advertising, where is that paid advertising sitting between? Like, if it's sitting in between hate speech, racist speech, fascist, homophobic, whatever it may be, this isn't great for brand. In fact, it's fucking terrible for brand image. And about 90% of Twitter's revenue actually comes from advertising. So maybe this is why Elon's so bullish to get payment providing integrated into Twitter, and he wants to balance out where that revenue comes from. If anybody's running a business, we all know that one source of revenue stream is nowhere near as good as 2, 3, 4. If you were running an e-commerce business and the marketing for your e-commerce was all coming from one channel and that channel went down, your sales are going to go to nil. You have to have diverse strategies when it comes to generating revenue. So what might Elon do in the future? Now, I know we talked about it in the previous video, but I'm still really bullish on a money market or payment providing. Literally integrating a WeChat style feature where users can pay each other, they can do transactions, whether it's public markets, whether it's crypto. I also think, and I also see a lot about this Twitter token. I mean, the Twitter token could be a really good way of how people transact across the platform and really lower those fees. It'd be really interesting to see how Elon looks to potentially integrate blockchain. We all know that he's pretty bullish on Bitcoin and Dogecoin, but it's going to be an interesting few 18 months. Personally, I believe he has about 18 to 24 months to make this work before the whole thing collapses. I wouldn't quite say it's a house of cards, but it's certainly not in a great place right now. I was actually listening to a podcast the other day. It was My First Millions, and I think they were talking about how Elon will probably do a lot of the heavy cutting now in terms of he'll cut a lot of the dead wood inside the company. He'll make some real drastic changes. And I can definitely foresee in about 6 months' time, they bring in a new CEO to lead this forward in a more kind of structured and strategic way, maybe away from kind of the high profile nature that Elon possesses. I'm really interested to find out what you guys, 1, think about the deal. 2, was the deal worth $44 billion? And 3, what is Elon going to do with Twitter next? Drop it in the comments, guys. I'm going to love to hear your feedback. Ciao for now.